LML, hello, my name is Rick Malava. My nickname in the forums is CTBRAM, and I'd just like to welcome you to simplymaya.com. And I was looking at your post here, and what you're trying to do is create an inset, a little notch out of this cube shape here. And if you push faces in Maya, as Dave said, you tend to not want to push faces in to create notches. You want to pull faces out. But there is another way you can do this if you've already created the thickness you want and you want to create this notch. And I'm going to show you a couple ways. In Maya you can do things a bunch of different ways, and hopefully you'll pick up a couple extra things that'll help you out here. I like doing these little videos because quite honestly it's a lot faster for me to do a little video, and I think I can show a couple extra things, especially for folks that are just starting out, that would be helpful for you, rather than to try to describe textually what it is I'm talking about, since there was a lot of steps in that little bit that I gave you there. So let's get started here. What I'm going to do first is start out with, I'm going to create a cube, and I've been using playing with interactive creation lately, so I'm going to create something that's close to yours. And let's start out with Dave's suggestion. So instead of the full thickness of your cube, which is about like this, we're only going to pull it up about the height of where you want the notch to be. And then what I'm going to do is, let's say I want to put this at the origin. All I have to do is come over here to the channel box and set that to 0, and now it's back in the origin there. And if I did want to make it a unit cube, I can always come to the polycube node and I can pick these guys, set them all to 1, and then it's a unit cube. But I don't want to do that. That's kind of close to what you got here. So now let's say we want to create a notch in this corner. We want to have this thing split into 4. So what I'm going to do is pick an edge here. I'm going to go to Insert Edge Loop Tool Options, and I'm going to pick multiple edge loops, and I want to just put one edge loop. So it's going to put an edge loop in the middle of each of these edges. So one here and one here. I like to use Maya's marking menus rather than coming up here to the shelf or picking options out of the tab menus up here, and I'll show you how that works. For polygons, there's a quite extensive set of pie menus. If I'm selecting this object, for instance, and I hold the Shift key down on the right mouse button, this is called a marking menu, and it pops up. And so Maya looks at whatever it is you're working on, and it gives you a selection of the things you would most likely want to do based on what you've got selected. So for a polygon here, I might want to insert a loop, I might want to split edges, I might want to append to polygon, I could do any of the options down here. And for me, it's a lot faster than going up and picking things out of the shelf or out of these tabs. I still use these, but I tend to like using the marking menus because they can be save you quite a bit of time when you're modeling. So now we want to create this notch here, back to what we're trying to do. So I'm going to select these 3 faces and do an extrude, and then just pull them up. Okay? And so that gets you to the notch by doing an extrusion out rather than a pushing in. Now let's go back a couple steps here, and let's say that you've already added the thickness in. So you've got it, oops, one more face. Just trying to save rebuilding this again. So okay, so now we've got the thickness built in, and we do want to push this down, or we want to create a notch here. So what we want to do in this case, like I said, was first insert an edge loop, and it remembers the last settings I had, which is multiple edge loops with one loop, and we'll put a loop in right there. And so now to create this notch, all I have to do is come in here and delete these faces. So I get rid of those faces, and now I've created this hole. Oh my god, how do we fix that? Well, what we do is we select these edges and do an extrude. And here's a little trick for you. I want to push these edges down until it matches where that vertex is there, right? So what I can do is, by selecting this Z-axis handle here, and making sure that it's selected, you see it's in yellow. If I hold the V key down, you'll notice that the square turns into a circle, and if I middle mouse and then gesture, you got to kind of jiggle the mouse over this vertex right here, you notice those 2 edges will pop down to the level of that vertex. And now what I've got here is a face with an edge and a face with an edge. So there's 2 edges here and there's 2 edges here, and you can tell that because I've got border edges turned on, and these edges are darker and thicker than a single edge. So what I can do now is and there's 2 vertices right here. You can see that up in my heads up display, and there's 2 vertices over here. now I've got 4 vertices selected, and if I hold the Shift key down, right mouse button, I can go to vertices, merge vertices, and you see the the bold lines go away, and I've got a single edge here. So now I've just got this open face down here, and all I have to do is pick this edge, and then once again going to the marking menu, come down to fill hole, and there you go. There's another way to do it. So you can create the full thickness, delete the faces you don't need, extrude down the faces you do need, and then do a fill hole to put in the face that you're missing. And just as a little added extra bonus here, let's go back again. Okay, so now we're where we were before, and this is what you were trying to do. Take that face and push it down, right? And so what has this done? Well, actually, let's go back farther. I want to take that edge out. So you took this face, and once again, using the marking menu, I can come up here and go Edit Mesh, Extrude, same thing. Push this face down. Now what I've done is I've created a new face here, a new face here. This face already existed. This whole face out here existed, but I created this little face on the inside here. So there's 2 faces that are right against one another here. And Maya doesn't like that. So what you can do is similar to what I did. We're going to delete the faces we don't need and then fill in the faces to create the notch. So if I come in here, face, select that face and delete it, I got the full face, delete the little face, come over here, delete that face, delete that face. Now I've got the notch, but I need a vertex here to be able to make this a single edge. So what I have to do is create an edge all the way around to get the right geometry. So I'm going to insert an edge loop. It's already set to multiple edges. It remembers the last setting. And now you notice I've got the edge created, but the vertices aren't lining up. So once again, using that trick I showed you before, we can pick this face, and I can jiggle the, make sure that I select the Z-axis, this up axis, or the Y-axis, I'm sorry, and then holding the V key down and the middle mouse gesturing over there, it pops this whole face down to the level of that vertex. And now it's just like we did before. I'll go to vertex mode, and I'll pick those 2 vertices and those 2 vertices, and I'll merge them. And you see the bold lines go away, and so now I just have a hole down here. Now, how can I do this? I can either pick these edges here, and I can go to extrude, and I can pull them down and then merge up the vertices at the bottom. Or let's do this a different way. I'll come over here and go to pick the whole object, and once again hold the Shift key down and the right mouse button, go to Append to Polygon. This is all under Edit Mesh, by the way, so if you wanted to get to it the hard way, you could come up here, Edit Mesh, and go to Append to Polygon. Like I said, using the Pie menu, I can pick this object, hold down the Shift and right mouse button, pick Append to Polygon, and then all I have to do is click on that edge, and then click on that edge, and it will append a polygon between those 2 edges, and it will also close the edge over here. And then all I have to do is hit Enter to drop that tool, hit G to bring up last command, and then click over that edge and that edge, and I've accomplished the same thing. We've created a notch in that polygon shape that you had there. So I hope this helps you out, and you learned a couple of extra little tricks that can help you out using the Pie menu, for instance, and using the Snap to Vertice command. And want to welcome you on board simplymaya.com, and I hope you have a lot of fun modeling in Maya.